In the quiet hours before dawn, a tremor ripples through the crust beneath Yellowstone National Park, a place where the ground has been quietly simmering for millennia. Scientists monitor the subtle swelling of the magma chamber, but tomorrow, that ancient pressure will unleash a cataclysm unlike any seen in human memory. The sky will darken, the air will tremble, and the world as we know it will be forced to confront the raw power of a supervolcano. A supervolcano differs from a typical volcano in both scale and consequence. While Mount St. Helens expelled roughly 1 cubic kilometer of material in 1980, the Yellowstone system holds enough magma to blanket the entire United States in several feet of ash. Such an eruption releases energy measured in hundreds of gigatons of TNT, dwarfing the most powerful nuclear weapons ever detonated, and reshaping the planet's surface in a single, violent breath. The first moments of the eruption would be a terrifying display of nature's might. A massive plume of superheated gas and volcanic ash would surge upward at speeds exceeding 400 meters per second, piercing the stratosphere and forming a mushroom-shaped column that could reach 30 kilometers into the sky. Lightning would crackle within the plume, while ash particles, some as fine as talc, are lofted far beyond the continental borders. Within minutes, the surrounding landscape would be transformed into a wasteland of pyroclastic flows, fast-moving avalanches of ash, gas, and rock that race down the slopes at velocities up to 700 kilometers per hour. These flows incinerate everything in their path, flatten forests, melt steel, and leave a desolate, glassy surface known as a tuff deposit. The immediate death zone could extend hundreds of kilometers, swallowing towns and wildlife alike. Beyond the immediate blast radius, a thick veil of ash would settle across the continent. Cities like Denver, Chicago, and even New York would experience ashfall measuring several centimeters per hour, clogging engines, collapsing roofs, and contaminating water supplies. The ash, heavy with sulfur compounds, would turn sunlight into a dim, orange haze, reducing visibility to a few meters and making navigation a perilous endeavor. The atmospheric consequences would unfold over weeks and months. Sulfur dioxide released into the stratosphere would combine with water vapor to form sulfuric aerosols, reflecting sunlight away from the Earth's surface. This volcanic winter could plunge global temperatures by up to 10 degrees Celsius, disrupting growing seasons, shortening harvests, and triggering widespread famine. Historical analogues, such as the 1815 eruption of Tremor, demonstrate how such cooling can last for years. Marine ecosystems would not be spared. Ash and acid rain would acidify ocean waters, harming plankton at the base of the food chain. A collapse in plankton populations would ripple upward, threatening fish stocks, seabird colonies, and the livelihoods of coastal communities that depend on fisheries. Satellite imagery would reveal a stark greenish tint in ocean waters as suspended particles scatter light. Human health would face an unprecedented crisis. Fine ash particles inhaled deep into the lungs cause respiratory distress, especially for children, the elderly, and those with pre-existing conditions. The ash's chemical composition, rich in fluorine and other toxic elements, would exacerbate skin irritations and contaminate food supplies. Hospitals would be overwhelmed, while supply chains grind to a halt under the weight of ash-laden roads. Infrastructure would crumble under the weight of ash. Power plants reliant on water cooling would shut down as reservoirs fill with sediment. Solar panels would be coated, reducing efficiency, while wind turbines could be damaged by abrasive particles. The electrical grid, already fragile, would suffer cascading failures, leaving millions without power during a time when heating and refrigeration become matters of survival. Air travel would be grounded worldwide. Ash clouds can melt inside jet engines, leading to catastrophic failure. The ash plume from a supervolcano would travel across continents, prompting aviation authorities to close airspace from the Americas to Europe and Asia. The resulting paralysis of global commerce would compound shortages of food, medicine, and essential goods, stretching the resilience of societies to its breaking point. Economically, the shock would be staggering. The World Bank estimates that a supervolcanic eruption could cost the global economy upwards of $2 trillion in direct damages, with indirect losses, lost productivity, disrupted trade, and long-term agricultural decline, potentially exceeding $10 trillion. Insurance markets would be overwhelmed, and governments would scramble to allocate emergency funds, often at the expense of other critical programs. Yet, humanity's response would also reveal resilience. Emergency response teams, trained for volcanic crises, would deploy rapid deployment shelters, air filtration units, and mobile water purification systems. International aid would flow, with nations sharing expertise in ash cleanup, crop substitution, and medical support. Historical lessons from the 1991 eruption of Mount Pinatubo show how coordinated action can mitigate loss of life even amid massive ashfall. Scientists would seize an unprecedented research opportunity. Seismologists, volcanologists, and climate modelers would collaborate in real time, deploying drones to sample ash, satellites to monitor atmospheric chemistry, and deep earth probes to map magma movement. The data collected could revolutionize our understanding of Earth's interior, improve eruption forecasting, and perhaps guide future geoengineering efforts to counteract volcanic cooling. In the long term, the planet would gradually heal. Over centuries, volcanic soils, enriched with minerals, would foster new ecosystems, and the ash layer would weather away, giving rise to fertile plains. The memory of the catastrophe would persist in cultural narratives, reminding future generations of the delicate balance between human civilization and the restless forces beneath our feet. The question remains, could we ever truly prepare for a supervolcano eruption? While monitoring technology has advanced, the sheer scale of such an event defies complete prediction. What we can control, however, is our collective will to invest in early warning systems, resilient infrastructure, and global cooperation. In the face of an eruption tomorrow, those choices will determine whether humanity merely survives, or emerges stronger from the ash. Imagine a city like Jakarta, already sinking under its own weight, suddenly blanketed by a veil of volcanic ash 10 centimeters thick. Streets become impassable, power lines short out, and the air itself turns into a choking haze. In such a scenario, emergency services would be forced to operate on foot, while hospitals scramble for filtration systems to keep patients breathing. The economic toll would ripple outward, disrupting supply chains that stretch across continents, and the social fabric would be tested as communities grapple with scarcity and fear. Beyond the immediate devastation, the eruption would unleash a cascade of climate effects. Sulfur dioxide injected into the stratosphere can form sulfate aerosols that reflect sunlight, cooling the planet for years. Historical records from the 1815 Tremor eruption show how global temperatures dropped, leading to crop failures and famine. Modern climate models suggest a similar event today could trigger a temporary but significant dip in average temperatures, altering weather patterns from the Arctic to the tropics and reshaping agricultural calendars worldwide. The human story does not end at the blast radius. Indigenous peoples living near the caldera have preserved oral histories of past eruptions, passed down through generations. Their knowledge of safe zones, evacuation routes, and resilient building techniques offers a living archive of adaptation. By integrating this wisdom with satellite monitoring and AI-driven forecasts, scientists can craft more nuanced risk maps that honor cultural heritage while enhancing modern preparedness. Financial markets would feel the shockwaves almost instantly. Insurance firms, already stretched by climate-related claims, would confront unprecedented payouts for property loss, business interruption, and health emergencies. Simultaneously, commodity prices, especially for wheat, coffee, and cocoa, could spike as agricultural zones are smothered under ash. Governments might intervene with emergency fiscal packages, but the ripple effect could reshape global trade routes and investment strategies for years to come. Science would seize the moment to study the Earth's inner workings like never before. Seismic arrays would capture tremors in real time, while drones equipped with LiDAR scan the evolving crater. These data streams could unlock clues about magma dynamics, improving our ability to forecast not just this supervolcano but others hidden beneath the planet's crust. The eruption, tragic as it is, could become a catalyst for a new era of volcanology, turning devastation into discovery. Finally, the eruption would force humanity to confront a profound philosophical question: how do we coexist with a planet that can unleash such raw power? Art, literature, and music have long reflected on volcanic awe, from ancient myths to contemporary cinema. In the aftermath, we may see a resurgence of creative expression that seeks to process loss, celebrate resilience, and reimagine our place on a dynamic Earth, reminding us that even in ash, hope can take root.